division. Again, here's the kind of the depiction of the org chart, and just to, again, quickly go through this. We've got four divisions: our administration division, community development, our public works and park maintenance, and then what I'm going to be talking about here the next few slides is our engineering services division. So this division, there's currently 3 sections. We have our transportation engineering services manager. There's our surface water and environmental engineering services manager, Lauren Reinhold. Brandon's here, our transportation engineer, and then our capital improvement program, which kind of sits in the middle because both of these, surface water and transportation, both have capital projects, and Scott Romano, our capital projects manager, helps manage all of that. We'll also utilize a lot of outside consultant resources in this division, particularly because on some of these larger capital improvement projects, we just don't have the ongoing resources to have a complete engineering, full-blown engineering department here at the city. We'll have a big capital project one year, and then it might be 2 years, and we don't have anything. So we've kind of got the right mix, at least it feels like to me, of where we have in-house design that we'll do, and then use a lot of outside support for some of these larger projects. So there's 11 FTEs in this division. The first section I'm going to talk about is transportation engineering services. The primary functions and responsibility, we'll go over those functions, dealing a lot with kind of emergency management, traffic operations and safety, and then some of the secondary functions that they'll do, capital improvement, development services, and the like. This section's first and foremost priority is traffic operations and safety. This city operates a complex transportation system with a wide variety of users. We have some 30,000 residents that live in the city, hundreds of businesses, and hundreds of thousands of vehicle trips every day that come through our city. We have pedestrian bicycle users, transit users. Case law establishes a lot of what our duty is as a city, and I'm going to read this. Cities are obligated to exercise ordinary care to maintain its infrastructure in a reasonably safe condition for persons using them in a proper manner and exercising due care for their own safety. Notice that this duty doesn't say that we have to provide safe infrastructure for every circumstance or situation. I'm going to refer back to this in a couple minutes. So how do we fulfill this duty? Do a lot of engineering analysis. We'll do a lot of performance evaluation. In other words, is the infrastructure operating as it was originally intended or designed? We do a lot of, in order to do that, we do a lot of data gathering from a lot of sources, staff, sources, council, citizens. We'll do traffic counts and collect crash data. Here are just a few of the authoritative documents that provide standards and guidelines that we must follow in the design, construction, operation, and maintenance of the city's infrastructure. Each of these manuals are regularly updated and can be found in our engineering library. They're all about 3 inches thick. A lot of boring reading for most people, but our engineers kind of just love reading this stuff. Yeah. State laws, the RCWs and WACs also provide, and case law also provide a framework for decision making. Take, for example, the rules of the road that we all learned when we went through driver's ed. These documents are just a representative example, but they're the hallmark documents that we often refer to. You'll hear us talk a lot about the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. This manual sets forth how we can use traffic control devices like our signs, signals, striping, markings, and the like. The AASHTO Green Book. This is used in the design of roadways, sidewalks, bike lanes, and trails. So as we do a lot of data gathering, we'll do traffic counts. We'll look at collision analysis from all of the crash reports and trying to make some decisions about particular crash trends and things like that. We take a lot of input from citizens. Here is a quick chart that'll show some of the accident trends that we have throughout the city. We typically have between 250 and 300 collisions a year on average in the city. We did see a slight dip here between 2008 and 2012 or so, and we think in large part this is due to the recession when traffic volumes dropped significantly, so there's a lot of less conflict points and things like that. But
Dan, on some of the studies that are actually for state routes that happen to be city streets also, like 99 or State Route 516, does the state do those studies, or do we? Or okay,
they may do them as well, but those are city streets, and so we'll be looking at those. So, over the last 8 years, we've had 1,942 reported crashes in the city, and here's kind of a breakdown of those crashes. Of the fatal crashes that we had, half of them involved alcohol. Another one was reckless driving. What's disturbing about collision trends nationwide is regarding impaired driving, including texting and driving, is showing that in reality, texting and driving is as bad, if not worse, than driving drunk. So just don't do it, or you're going to meet our guys in blue. Another primary function is infrastructure management. Our engineering services group manages all the operating and maintenance activity. So while the maintenance crew does a lot of the field work, it's directed to manage by our engineering folks. Our engineers decide where traffic control devices go. They decide when they have to be moved or removed. The authority of the traffic engineer is established in state law. In the city traffic engineer is the only one with the authority to place traffic control devices. So we coordinate and manage all the work out in the field for striping, crosswalk marking, sign placement, things like that. We've got just over 4,000 traffic signs, 15,000 feet of guardrail that we're managing, 75 miles of striping.
So Dan, where did that done in-house, or do you contract that work out as well?
We contract with King County for our road-based striping. We have a traffic control specialist that his primary duties is to manage and track all the traffic control devices. So we'll do all the sign work in-house, manufacturers, sign workers from the party, but we'll do all the marking work ourselves. But the striping work is done by King County. Our traffic signal work contract with Washot. Here is a traffic signal cabinet replacement. This computer equipment cabinets, from the late 80s, I think, when they pulled this a couple years ago. So anyway, we work with Washot quite a bit on cabinet maintenance, all our signal maintenance. When you pull up to the traffic signal, most of the time it knows that you're there because there's a loop in the road, and so sometimes those have to be replaced. We have 20 traffic signals in the city. We've got 17 other electronic devices that have to be time coordinated, and we've got 18 other street lights in the city. Well, probably our most valuable asset is our city pavement. Is to replace it at well over $100 million. Many of you, if on council, have probably seen the chart for us, pavement condition index over time. If you haven't seen it before, you're going to see it here soon. The idea is that brand pavement gets a score of 100, a completely failed road gets a 0. And the idea is we won't be able to maintain our roads up in this kind of area here of this curve, where 40% of the design life is lost over 75%. The first 75%, the next 40% is lost in the next 12% of the design life. So if you let the pavement get past this point, it deteriorates very rapidly. So our goal is to try to maintain pavements. We spend a lot of time looking at pavements. We haven't do a lot of overlays recently.
And that last slide, click on it, see on the right side of that. So you're saying that you're having it's $1 value per square foot to replace? Is that correct?
Yep.
So
Exponentially.
yeah, when you look at cost of decline, is all how fast the cost accelerates. And I think that's very telling right there. You're at $4 a square foot to maintain as long as you're above 70%, but then you drop and instantly goes to 20. The next threshold is 40, and then you're at 146. That's very powerful. Thank you.
Just recently, increased our transportation district fees to be able to do some overlay and pavement work. Over the next couple of weeks, you might see a trip like this. They're actually doing the pavement ratings for us that are going to help us update the scores in our pavement and help us decide where we're going to invest that money and maximize the use of that resource. Make it stretch the dollar as far as we can. We want to maintain 3 bridges in the city. The state only maintains the bridge at Murphy Drive here in the Marine District. We are required to regularly inspect all our bridges, and those inspections reports are filed and must be maintained in the Office of the City Engineer. During our inspections, we'll monitor and review deficiency that we know. When you have a crack in the bridge, cut like this, it's never a good thing. I will report that this has been repaired. And all of our bridges have been seismically retrofitted, which is pretty exciting. We've been working on that for a number of years. Another primary function of our engineering staff is to respond, direct, and manage all public-related emergency activities. We're essentially on call 24/7, 365. This emergency happened 2014 on Thanksgiving weekend, and we had people come back from hunting trips, from trips with family in order to help kind of get dealt with that night. We also do a lot of information that relates to storm tracking. Winter events, you go on the website, and if we have snow in town, we'll have our snow tracker up. You can see where our crews are in, plowing streets, and doing the icing and the back. We'll also have several traffic cams around the city and go on the website and look at those traffic cams. Kind of wrapping up, kind of primary functions that these engineers do. It's really all about protecting the city from lawsuits and claims. I've got 3 things I tell my staff. Number 1, you got to keep the city from being sued. You can't always do that, so when we are sued, you better win. And the other one is, I want you to treat the infrastructure you're maintaining like it's yours, like you own it. The point is, it's our money. When I say that, I'm not saying it's today's money. It's our money. It's your money. You're the taxpayer. I'm the taxpayer. Everything that's up there, the street is ours. We pay the bill and there's a lawsuit or a claim, the taxpayers. So I demand that our employees, your employees, be good stewards of the resources. We can't always make sure that the public infrastructure is 100% safe 100% of the time, nor are we required to do that. To do so would be astronomically expensive as taxpayers, which is good for the, if you recall the city's duty, case law, we have to provide reasonably safe infrastructure for reasonably safe conditions employed by the user. So you apply common sense. I'm using framework established standards and guidelines. If we didn't, we'd all look like Super Bowl. So how are we doing? So here's a quick table that shows our claim loss report for the last 6 years, I think. And for us as a department, our claim loss history is under $24,000. Engineering services specifically is under $4,500. And I remember specifically this one was related to a Rex 5 case where we had a fatality. Well, anything that we did, that was just in being prepared to defend that particular lawsuit, we hired some help on that particular thing. As a department, I can tell you with certainty that this loss rate is by far one of the lowest in the state of Washington for similar cities. When quickly move on to the 7 different functions that we do a lot of capital work, obviously development, review services, and we do a lot of work on special events. We're going to defer the capital work discussion to the end of the presentation. We can talk about all of the work that we do together. Our staff review and best transportation and access routes for new and new developed projects, both commercial and development, residential. They review case studies, staff impact fee reports, civil plan reviews, so you do a lot of utility coordination to all projects. We'll do a lot of field inspections and make corrections where we need to. This is particularly important because we have a developer who's building infrastructure that we're going to inherit becomes ours, so it's critical that we make sure that it's built properly and to the right standards. We do a lot of work on special events, 4th of July event, Water Parade, bonfire events. All of these come in through special event permits, and they take a lot of time coordination, a lot of traffic control management. We work closely with the federal and applicant, with the police department, and our businesses, especially downtown. There's a lot of coordination that goes on with the utilities that we have in the city. These include franchise agreements and right-of-way permit administration. It's difficult for one that we have 3 different sewer districts, 3 different water districts. Having multiple districts like this adds to complexity and time it takes to do utility coordinating. We have both public and private utilities. Public or water and sewer utilities, private are things like gas, power, cable, internet, phone, all these operating in our right-of-way. A lot of coordination with agencies as well. We have 5 neighboring cities. We have 3 state routes that go through Des Moines, 509, 516, SR99. We're also doing a lot of coordination work on the upcoming extension of the 509 freeway out to 5. That's taking a lot of time. There's a lot of work to do with permitting agencies like the Department of Ecology, FEMA, Army Corps of Engineers, and also our tribes. We have 2 different school districts in town, Highline and Redway. We also do a lot of coordination work with Highline College. We also have several private schools in town. So our engineering staff work closely with schools to set up schools on safety, crossing guard operations. We provide ongoing coordination with King County Metro and Town Transit. We're trying to get expenditures to Des Moines, or at least prevent further loss of service from Metro at times. We're spending a lot of time right now actively working with Town Transit on the design and extending the Liquid Rail to the college. It's currently scheduled to open 2023, and they'll have a record decision probably by the end of the year on the alignment and station locations, so that's moving along very rapidly. And from time to time, we also get to work on passenger and ferry service. It's been a while since that has come up, but every now and again that comes up, working with King County Ferry District. We also do a lot of coordination with committees, civil organizations throughout the state, from staying informed of developing issues, potential state law changes, liability exposure. It's necessary for engineering staff to maintain a strong relationship with various organizations that may have impact on our transportation issues as a state level. We do our planning work, so we have a comprehensive transportation plan where we look at the whole network at sea. That informs our transportation improvement plan that we adopt every year, and informs our 6-year capital improvement plan. We also have a lot of work we do. We have 12 municipal code dealing with city streets, and we'll update our street, maintain our street non-construction standards. So that kind of concludes the transportation engineering services section. Their budget's about $930,000. A huge portion of that comes from a capital improvement project that we work on. Their development review projects. In kind of a big picture kind of way in surrounding numbers, but we have some general fund support for this division, which makes sense given what primary duty actually is. So there's 5 FTEs, Brandon, Andrew, Dave, Tommy, and I who put together the move at the beginning. So, and this kind of shows you again where this group's spending that revenue, capital improvement project, those are the same, development review, those kind of the same other pieces in it. Right-of-way inspections, citizen concerns, and kind of coordinating our street maintenance operations. The next session I'll talk about is our utility environmental engineering group. Their primary function is protecting the environment and maintaining our NPDES permit. I'll talk about that in a minute. They also do like capital work and dog services. As I said, first priority, protecting the environment. So this chart is a little RC, but you can see the creeks that have town, Range Blowing Creek, there's Massey Creek, Iron Creek, Soil Creek, both further to that, Woodbine Creek, Down Creek, and Bull Creek. Each of the basins that are shown here kind of in the yellow color. All of our storm drainage system connects to those creeks directly to the Puget Sound. So when you see these different, you might see these drainage markers out at the catch basin in the street. It literally doesn't mean the Puget Sound starts here. Everything that ends up in that drainage catch basin is going to end up in one of those creeks in the Puget Sound. We've all heard about the impact of fish, freshwater, saltwater fish. Fish like this live in our stream waters, and we're required to protect them. So we do a lot of work to prevent things like this. This nearly discharge where this guy's dumping his chemicals out right into our ditch. So luckily we had one of our staff was right around his natural picture, so we were able to follow up and have a little bit with something here. Sometimes there's accidental discharges, these happen sometimes, so oil spills, hydraulic spills, they're best to clean those up at source, then also put absorption tank right at kind of the last point of these drainages in their sounds. And sometimes we have unintentional discharges into our creeks. I mean, you wouldn't think about going out of the heat unless your car. That's exactly what you're doing when the filters go down drain. So some of our big car wash events we do have car wash kits that we have 8 of them. You can call in on us at 206-870-6585 if you're doing a fundraiser. You can come in and check one of these kits out for free, and it helps pump the water out to the grassy area where it'll infiltrate directly. We do a lot of work informing, educating the public, and coordinating outreach events to clean up the creek basins. And we do all this because of our PDS permit. PDS is National Pollutant Discharge Examination System. I'm going to walk through all the components of that, kind of talk to some of that. But this permit is what allows the city to discharge stormwater into the waters of the state, like creeks, streams, and beach sound. Without this permit, we would not be able to do that. So we have to make sure that we're preventing pollution from entering these things, these creeks, by helping inform people, doing things like car wash kits, storm drainage marker program, and a lot of maintenance activities about cleaning out our catch basins and things like that. And street sweeping, which I'm going to talk about specifically here. So we do a lot of work to control surface water runoff from streets and impervious areas, control these and those in ditches and for drainages eventually down here this Domain Creek. So eventually everything ends up working its way down in the system. Do a lot of maintenance maintaining our storm ponds and detention vaults. There's two ways we can detain water. I mean, sometimes you'll see, detention ponds out in the neighborhoods. What you don't see is on the street we have detention vaults. This is actually the control structure that's here. The vault is what he's coming out of. And they'll, we have to clean those out from time to time. We also do a lot of work to maintain treatment facilities like biosoils. We're going to see more and more of those with their ID.
On the water retention systems, on new development, when required to plan a system for houses, the contractor builds it, and does the homeowners association have to maintain that, or does the city then take over the ongoing inspection and maintain those water retention ponds?
And for the public system, we take it over to the build it, and we take it over for the private system. Then there's also facilities, property owners have to maintain that as well. So here, this is the oil water separator. So we have some of these where we have a basic filter every so often. We also do a lot of control managed flooding. We did a lot that happened several years ago. That's the Downing Mall. So we've actually built that and raised the building. And this is out on 24th where we've got an inadequate drainage system. So it's reached capacity. It's the water comes out. So we've got a project going to deal with that. Another function is infrastructure management. I mentioned it before on the transportation side, but we also have a lot of assets that have to be managed and tracked and maintained. We've got 5,000 catch basins throughout the state, 46 detention vaults, 16 ponds. So there's a lot of work that goes into kind of keeping these operating properly. Kind of moving on to secondary functions, there's like capital projects, and I'm going to for this again and top at the end of this. This is a huge detention vault that they're building. This was under Pack Highway as part of the redevelopment project there. And so that's basically their sidewalk and the pavement. It's where you can sit. A lot of development services. Review technical information reports, make sure that development projects are designed according to the King County Surface Water Design Manual. Review construction activities, make sure that the new drainage systems and facilities are constructed to standard and approved plans. Because again, we're going to take it over and maintain it when they're done. A lot of coordination with agencies, some different agencies that when coordinates with all of these agencies have assistance in how a facility is built. And we have to get permits from a lot of these different agencies. Some of these agencies are tasked with different functions, but we can get grants from organizations like IR9, Can't Flood and King Conservation District. Do a lot of planning as well. We have a comprehensive plan. We do a lot of surface water utility codes or Title 11, so that's when Lauren kind of work on that there. As mentioned, we're currently looking at updating or implementing low impact development standards, which is part of our PDS requirements through the Department of Policy. What's that? Some we're currently working on, so it's something that has to be adopted before the end of the year. Just going to go over a couple of common misunderstandings that we hear quite a bit. Surface water, there's property surface water issues. City does not manage surface water on private properties. We're managing surface water from impervious surface like street, roads, farm facilities, things like that. Groundwater problems that come up from time to time. I mean, we get a lot of calls from, hey, you got to come out and fix this. Say, well, it's not, this is a surface water issue, this is a groundwater issue. So we get those quite a bit. We have quite a few easements that we operate in, and easements don't imply ownership. It gives us the right to access that area to maintain our facility, but ownership of their own property. Here's the budget for this group. There's 5 FEEs, $1.2 million budget. One thing I want to point out is the expenditure for this particular department is utility taxes. The utility taxes are paid and accounted for out of this particular budget, so those are taxes paid to local governments. And all of the fees that come in, there's a small part of the general fund, and Lauren has reduced some work on utility work and things like that that is general funded in nature. That by and large, this is restricted revenue that's generated by the surface water management utility. On quickly, the capital improvement program, we've got several different funds that we manage: transportation projects, swim projects, municipal capital projects, and our facility repair and replacement fund. All these projects have different phases that we work through: planning and preliminary design, right of acquisition, final design, engineering, and contract procurement to bidding. And we have to make sure it's built right through construction management and inspection. To the extent we can, we will do as much of that work with in-house resources, staff resources, and there's a balance there based on the size of the project and other work that's going on. And so, some of the bigger projects I mentioned, we some support for that. Talk a little bit about grant funding. On the federal side, there's a list here of the various types of grants that can go after. They're all federal funded. All of these grants require a minimum of 13.5% match, and they all come with a lot of red tape. But that's what you got to accept red tape if you want the money. So some of the main grants we use a lot are at the SEP grants to get those with FEMA grants. FHWA provided money for the boardwalk repairs. There's safe school funding, or bridge funding. Those are some examples. Unfortunately, the back to staff against agencies like these have dedicated full-time staff that are specifically devoted to work on grants. They sit on advisory committees at the state and regional level, and they frame policy and set award criteria. When the grant cycles come around, many times agencies like them struggle to compete for limited resources. I was going to kind of tell it the numbers in this lesson I call, but They kind of take a lot of it. Brand can refer to it, kind of stepping into the boxing ring, you can, some of the crates and walking right until the hook. It's so fun. State grants, just real quickly, there's a laundry list of stuff here. These are much bigger grants to get because they're at HIPAA, but you usually have to provide more of a local match to get some of these particular DIB to be competitive or that kind of grant. You better come to the table with 30, 40% match, and that makes the project much more appealing to these granting agencies to support. So where does our local match come from? We have campaign fees and lieu fees from developers, our fuel tax could be used, transportation benefit district money could be used, real estate excise tax could be used. This all provides leverage to get those grant awards. The Gateway project, which we're just wrapping up, our last phase is construction, is a $20 million project. I think by the time that we're all sitting down, I'll be surprised if we have $2 million of local money into that project. So we were able to leverage a lot of other local sources of funding to get a bigger return. Yes?
You said we're on the last phase of the Gateway project? What about there's a strip?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's the last phase. The current three phases that we have, there is a segment of the Gateway project proper that's east of Pacific Highway between there and I-5 that at some point we'll have to deal with.
I was talking about the one that's around 14th or 16th.
So that is outside the Gateway project, but there'll be one piece of South to 16th Street between, we'll call it 11th and about 18th. And so we're currently working on that to try to get some funding for that, and we'll see where we go. That's a project that's in our 6-year strategy to try to get funded for.
Okay, thank you.
I spent a lot of time on this, but we have certified agency authority through WashDOT, which is a big savings to us. It allows us to administer our own federally funded projects. Mainly because we have qualified staff, we have licensed professional engineers, we have people with experience using the local agency scheduling manual, and working within red tape. So if we lose that authority and lose the ability to manage our own projects, and the costs go up, they'll cost us more. So we've had pretty good success delivering some pretty big projects. We've seen some pictures enough. We've had the Brewers project, our Gateway project, our Pacific Highway South project from several years ago. And the Redondo Boardwalk project is shaping out to be another award-winning successful project. We've had some hiccups out there, but it's going along pretty well now. So here's a list of all capital projects that we have. There are 17 currently active projects that we're working on. All the projects have to be administered to standard specifications for road, bridge, and construction. This is kind of all the contractors and all of the agencies use this for contracting purposes, and WashDOT and DPW regularly update that annually. So we have an FTE that kind of manages a lot of this capital work, along with Brandon and Andrew and Lauren. The interesting thing is our grants in our $14 million capital budget, 66% state, federal, and county grants, about $9.5 million. We have about $4.7 million in local funding sources. I'm going to show you where those are coming from. But 100% of this is restricted revenue. You can't take a state grant here, take that money, and go do some operating expense. That has to be dedicated to a specific project that we'll award to. So this kind of represents where our local match is coming from for this year. So we got quite a bit coming from SWIM, our automated speed enforcement system here, our Fund 5 facility replacement repair. Picture that's going to the field house roof replacement. We got some real estate excise tax. This is helping fund the boardwalk, the sign up program match, amongst other things. We get contributions from utilities. We can actually use that money to leverage to go get more grant funding, so we're able to do that sometimes. In lieu fees, these are fees that are paid by the developer, and we build our portion of the project. We have traffic impact fees and some from our transportation capital fund. So that's kind of where our local match is coming from. And if I can invest $1 and $3 back, I'll do that all day long. So that's essentially what you see when you're looking at this budget here, where we're getting a good rate on the return for investment. So that wraps up.
Well, we got to keep the train rolling. You get 25 minutes, you go, Louis.
Get into it.